Well, hello there and welcome to the Travel Fair Caribbean and Mexico. And today I'm so excited. We are talking to Montserrat. So today we have Miss Cherise Ima with us today. So Cherise, before we go into our presentation about Montserrat, that little gem of the Caribbean, let's talk about you. So let's just a little bit about you and Montserrat.
Well, I am Cherise Ima, the Market Development Officer at the Montserrat Tourism Division. I am responsible basically for the promotion of the island. All marketing of Montserrat is done through myself.
Fantastic. So when you hear Montserrat, what does that mean to you?
For me, Montserrat is home. It is a place where I feel safe, relaxed, and stress-free, wrapped in the natural surroundings of green mountains and seas. It is the welcoming smiles of the residents, the sweet sounds of the birds chirping in the trees, and a gentle kiss of the waves against your feet. That's Montserrat for me. It's peace.
And I want to be there right now. It sounds very, very peaceful. It sounds so peaceful. Okay. So what is your favorite thing to do at home? What is like when you wake up in the morning? How do you start your day?
I live in the hills, Kelly, so I love to come out in the morning and just sit on my patio and enjoy the greenery that I see before me, because I have lived in, metropolitan cities in the UK. And so I know what it's like to wake up and see another concrete building. So I really appreciate coming out in the morning and just embracing the nature that surrounds me.
Fantastic. So I have arrived in Montserrat, my very first time visiting the island. What is the one experience that I must be part of, either for eating or an attraction? What is the one thing I cannot leave Montserrat without doing?
Well,
just one.
Montserrat may be small and you're asking for one, but there is so much to discover here. But if I must pin it down to one thing, I would have to say you must experience our Buried City tour. Because when our volcano erupted in 1997 and buried our capital city, it's been our main and star attraction ever since. We've been able to reap positivity out of what was a negative experience for us as a country. And we don't mind when people come in and actually see for themselves what it is like to see a country change before you, life change before you. It's a very humbling experience. And that's something that I wish that everybody would be able to experience. Apart from the fact that they must stop at Runaway Gut and have a drink of water.
okay. That sounds really interesting. So I must keep that on my things to do. So is there any one event that Montserrat is known for that we may not be aware of? That one big event that you may know for that we didn't realize that you could do this in Montserrat?
Well, many people may not know that we have an African-Irish heritage. So every year we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We're the only island outside of Ireland that celebrates St. Patrick's Day as a national holiday. But we don't celebrate for one day, we celebrate for 10 days.
And 10 days?
10 whole days, Kelly. And it's like non-stop frolicking, petting, but also it's also in celebration of the efforts of our slaves who tried to revolt on that very day in 1768. So it's twofold. We're celebrating the Irish element of ourselves, but we're also celebrating their efforts.
Okay, fantastic. So now, folks, you've heard it. So there's so much to the little island of Montserrat. So without further ado, I will let Cherise give you a little bit more information. And remember to engage with us, just type all of your questions and inquiries in the chat. So Cherise, let's share that screen and let's see a little bit more about Montserrat. I am really excited about that right now. I learned a little bit more. So let's go. It's all yours.
Thank you. I'll share my screen. Okay. So welcome to the island of Montserrat. Montserrat is also known as the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. If you don't know, we are a British overseas territory. We're 39.5 square miles, and as we like to say, we're still growing. That is because the material that comes from our Scuba Hills volcano that flows to the sea has actually been expanding our shorelines. Our population is just under 5,000, and we're located in the Eastern Caribbean, northwest of Guadeloupe, and southwest of Antigua. Our key selling points, as I said before in my interview with Kelly, the Scuba Hills is our star attraction, and anywhere around the island, you can actually view the Scuba Hills from Garibaldi Hill, Jackboy Hill, Salem, the Montserrat Volcano Observatory. Anywhere you go, you can see the volcano. We have a buried city, which came out of the eruption of the Scuba Hills volcano. So we offer a tour where you can see up close and personal the devastation that was wrought onto those buildings. Our intimate size and our friendliness is something very unique about the island, because you would think as small as we are, we may know everybody, but we don't necessarily do. However, it also makes us that much more friendlier, much more closer to each other, that when we pass each other, we greet each other, we honk our horn to say hello, you know, that kind of thing. So that kind of intimacy is what you can find here in Montserrat. We have a network of diverse hiking trails. Montserrat is an outdoor, a soft adventure type destination. So if you're into hiking, bird watching, Montserrat is the place for you. And our natural green surroundings makes it perfect for that nature lover type fantasy holiday. And we have spectacular landscape. Many say that our cliff sides resemble that of Ireland, the very sharp edges. Everywhere you go, you're surrounded by spectacular views, amazing views. Our beaches, the majority of them are ebony sand beaches, except for one, which you will see later on. And we're very good for scuba diving because our underwater world is absolutely amazing. It's not being overdived. We don't have a lot of tourists here in Ireland. So our coral reefs are abundantly healthy and looking beautiful. The unique Afro-Irish heritage of the island, I explained a little bit about that on our St. Patrick's Day celebrations. And we are also an opportunity for you to have a twin island holiday with Antigua. So you can go over to Antigua and have the sun, sea, and sand, and come over to Montserrat and experience that green adventure. Okay. So how do you get to the island? You can travel from the US to Antigua, and from Antigua, you take a 20-minute flight over to Montserrat. If you're coming from the UK or Europe, take a flight from London Gatwick or London Heathrow over to Antigua, and from Antigua over to Montserrat. The flight from Antigua to Montserrat is a measly 20 minutes. So you're here in one day. And these are the islanders that will bring you over from Antigua to Montserrat. They're 9-seater planes, pretty small, however, they're very comfortable. And within 20 minutes, you're here. So there's nothing to really worry about. We launched our Montserrat Remote Workers Stamp earlier last year. This is an opportunity for persons who are interested in remote working to come over to the island of Montserrat and live and work here for up to 12 months. So if you're earning an annual salary of up to $70,000 US, and you work for a foreign employer, then you can apply at MontserratRemoteWorkersStamp.com and be able to come over to Montserrat to live and work. What to do here, as I did mention, I like the idea of I like the idea of living in a natural environment, and being in the outdoors is something I thoroughly enjoy, and we have an abundance of hiking trails here. They range from the moderate to the extreme, and you are able to either hike on your own or you can hike with one of our very experienced tour guides. We discovered in 2016, a hiker was actually hiking through the hills and discovered these petroglyphs. So these petroglyphs are now a new addition to our hiking tours. Well, it is alleged that they have been in existence since the 1600s. So it's very interesting to be able to come up upon these when you're hiking towards the dry waterfall. And as I mentioned before, this is a picture of our buried city of Plymouth. And as this church is a prime example of how much material would have come through the capital of Plymouth and buried these buildings. So all you can see is the top of the building. However, it would have been a full-blown church prior to volcanic eruptions. And I must add that the tours into Plymouth are only accessible by a certified tour guide. So you would have to make a booking with one of our certified taxis, and they will make the application for you to enter Plymouth. Turtle watching and bird watching is also one of our popular tours here in Ireland. The bird you're seeing here is the national bird, the oriole, and you can see this on a tour of the Oriole Trail, and also it's also visible on a lot of the other trails. It actually nests on our national plant, which is the heliconia. So if you're on the trail and you're able to see the oriole, one of our expert tour guides, Scriber, he's actually able to call the oriole and you can hear the oriole answer. So that is an experience definitely worth having when you're on Montserrat. We're currently in the turtle nesting period, so it is not advisable for persons to touch or go close to turtles. However, you can have a tour with an experienced tour guide who would allow you to see the turtles as they're nesting from a distance. This is to ensure that we continue to protect our turtles. Hilltop Coffee House is a place that you must go if you're into memorabilia. Here you would find memorabilia from the Air Studios era. So you'd find musical hits, displays from Sir George Martin, the Beatles, Elton John, Sting, and of course you will find music displays from our very own Arrow, which is our national hero, Alphonsus Arrow Castle. If you've ever heard the song, Feeling Hot, 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 that song was actually produced by Alphonsus Arrow Castle, who is a son of the soil, born right here in Montserrat. Jackboy Hill is a good location for you to be able to view our buried airport. The W.H. Bramble Airport was buried during the volcanic era, so you're able to see what's left of the airport on that side of the island. You're also able to see Guadeloupe, and you're also able to view the Soufriere Hills volcano. Another way to view the island is by sea, and we have a number of operators that offer boat tours that takes you down to the south of the island, where you can see the buried city Plymouth from the sea, and you can also see the buried village of St. Patrick's, which is something you will not be able to view on a land tour. So we do recommend that you take a boat tour when you're on island. Here we also have our only white sand beach. It's called Rendezvous, and you can only access Rendezvous via a boat, or you can take a stiff hike for 1 hour over to our only white sand beach. As mentioned before, scuba diving is another popular activity while visiting the island. We also have snorkeling, kayaking, and stand-up paddle. And we have our festivals. We have 4 festivals in the year. We have the St. Patrick's Festival that happens in March every year for 2 weeks. It culminates on St. Patrick's Day. It usually involves boat tours, island tours, open air concerts, pub crawls, and a parade and a slave feast. The Calabash Festival is normally held in July, and this involves the calabash fruit. So it has a lot of exhibitions. You get food fair, you have concerts, and you're able to also view our masqueraders. Then we have our literary festival. This takes place in November, near the end of November. And if you're into books, poetry, open mic, this is for you, the literary festival in November. And at the end of the year, we have a combo, which is our carnival combined with Christmas. So from mid-December through to the January 1st is our carnival. And this year, we will be celebrating our 60th anniversary of carnival. So you'll be able to experience calypso shows, juve, pageantry, masqueraders, open air concerts, parades on the street, hi-fi music, you name it, that will be on display come December. So make sure you're in Montserrat this December, because it will also be our very first live event since COVID started. So you're decided you're coming to Montserrat, where are you going to stay? Now, Montserrat is not the type of destination where you would find all-inclusives. We are more into the villas and guest house, B&B type apartments accommodation. So we have only 2 hotels on island. Sorry, I'm moving ahead of myself. So first we'll talk about the villas, since this is what is presented before us. We have a number of private villas, which all comes with a pool, and you can have housekeeping services if requested. They all have spectacular views. We have a number also of B&Bs and apartments. All of these are available to rent at very affordable prices. As mentioned before, these are our 2 hotels. You have the Viewpoint Hotel, and you also have Tropical Mansion Suites. Tropical Mansion Suites have 16 rooms, and Viewpoint Hotel, they're currently renovating, but they've opened 3 rooms for now. We're also in the process of opening a football hotel, which will have 35 rooms when it is completed. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation today about Montserrat. Yeah, I hope you've learned a lot more than you knew before. And I do look forward to welcoming you on island in the very near future. Do have a wonderful day.